Hi, everybody. Making a quick live, and I'm gonna just adjust the lighting a minute. Just a sec. I find that this is the hardest time of the day to get the lighting right in this room. It's kind of crazy. So I wanted to pop in today and just have a quick little chat with you guys about something that I hear a lot. And that is that you should just get over it. If you've suffered trauma because of your church experience, whether that's, rapture anxiety, sexual assault, child abuse, whatever your traumatic religious experience is, it's very common to hear people say that we should just get over it. And I think the light's a little better there. I think that that's actually not very good advice, especially if you're someone who has had a lot of trauma in their life, like myself. So I have complex PTSD, and because of that, it's really easy for me to re-traumatize myself when I'm trying to just get over things. So I want to share quick a story with you about something that happened to me a few years ago. So I had a very triggering experience. And it kind of came out of the blue, and I was really taken aback and surprised by how much it affected me and how much it was causing these really intrusive thoughts to be coming into my mind, and how much it was affecting just my day-to-day ability to be able to function in the world. And I decided that what I was going to do was I was going to face this head on, and that I was just going to because it was like rapture anxiety, I was just gonna watch all those scary movies that really affected me as a kid, and just face it. I was gonna just get over it. That was my attempt to try to just face it and move on and not have it be a factor in my life anymore. That was a really big mistake. So I went ahead and watched the movies, and I kind of psyched myself up to do it. I was like, okay, I'm an adult now. This is dumb. I need to just get over this. And if I just watch these movies, I'll just get over it, and then I'll be fine. And then I won't have to ever worry about being triggered by this stuff or having to deal with this stuff again if I just face it and kind of put on my big girl pants and just do what I have to do. And so I did that. And I had one of the worst bouts of complex PTSD, anxiety, and triggering and trauma that I've ever had in my life. I was having flashbacks. I was incapacitated. I would spend long periods of time just sitting on the bed, staring at the wall. It was really scary. And I didn't know how I was going to get out of it because, for me at least, when I get triggered, it builds and builds and builds and builds and builds, and until something breaks that cycle. And sometimes that can take a really long time. And in this particular case, it did. And it actually drove me to seek therapy because I didn't know what to do about it. And that therapy did help to a point because it was talk therapy. And then I thought, well, if I just do this talk therapy and I just really face it and I just really, talk to myself like a grown up, I can logic my way out of this and I can just get over it. I can just let it go and everything is going to be okay. And that is not at all how it was. I did the talk therapy, and although I did make some improvement, it got me over that emergency of being really stuck in my anxiety and my neurological responses. It did not solve the problem for me. And I kept being triggered, and I kept having anxiety, and I kept, having to be really mindful of like what I would let myself see and what I would let myself hear and who I would let myself associate with, because I didn't want to run the risk of being triggered, because I didn't want to potentially be stuck in another cycle like this. And so it really wasn't until I went to EMDR that I found real help. And the really nice thing about EMDR is that, yes, you're talking about these things that happen to you much like you do in talk therapy. But the difference is that EMDR gets to the crux of the problem, which is the neurological response. And I think the hardest thing for people to understand about, I think, probably both PTSD and complex PTSD is that it is not within the person's power to just get over it and be healed and walk away and be fine. No amount of me trying to put my childhood in the past or grow up and say, well, I'm an adult now and I don't believe that anymore, and therefore I'm fine. No amount of that kind of self-talk or self-motivation or, self-work ever really accomplished what I needed it to, so that I could be whole and so that I could live a better life with less triggers and less anxiety. I think that there are two main things that really helped. The first was telling my story, because through telling my story, I learned that I wasn't the only one, and I gained a lot of support from the people around me. The second would be the EMDR, and also EFT, which is like the tapping. Both of those really helped me with my neurological responses. Because, I can see something and it can remind me of something that's very triggering. But without the neurological response, I can kind of talk myself out of it. I can kind of be like, oh crap, I don't want to look at that, but it's okay because, I don't believe in that anymore. It's really difficult to do that when your brain and your neurological responses are all like, be afraid, be afraid, be afraid, be afraid, be afraid, be afraid. And I get into this like feedback loop that I can't get out of. And so I'm having heart palpitations and I'm having anxiety attacks and I can't sleep and I'm having flashbacks. And so, without dealing with the neurological responses and that real like back of the brain, like lizard brain response mechanism, I wasn't going to really find the help that I needed. And so I guess I've said all of that to say, if you're someone who's been through trauma, if you've been diagnosed with complex PTSD or PTSD, and people are telling you to just get over it, or isn't it great that you're not in that situation anymore, and now you don't have to have those fears or you don't have to have those responses. I just want to be here to encourage you and say that I understand. I know it's not that simple. I think that sometimes people want it to be that simple. They want us to get over it. Some people want us to be better and they just want us to be happy and they want us to be whole. But then there are other people who just don't want to listen to us complain anymore. And so, or they don't want to face their responsibility, and us sort of being the squeaky wheel and being out there and talking about our trauma is uncomfortable for them. Maybe they have trauma they don't want to look at, or maybe they don't want to take responsibility for the trauma that they caused. So it's convenient for them for us to just be quiet. And I just want to say that I understand. And I know that it's not as easy as just getting over it, just forgetting about it, just, logicking your way out of it. And I'm here if I can help you in any way, if I can direct you towards resources for either EFT or EMDR, or if there's some other healing modality that you're interested in, or even like reading material, please do not hesitate to reach out to me because I really want to help you if I can. So I hope you have a good rest of the day. And if you have questions, you can put them in the comments. You can also direct them to my email address, Surviving Church and Childhood. And I check that email regularly. So I'm always happy to answer questions there. So I hope you guys have a good rest of the day. And yeah, if you need the healing, I hope you get the healing. Have a great day. Bye.